on this computer. All right, welcome guys. So good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Engineering Leaders podcast show, where we are actually bringing together engineering leaders from various fields to pick their brain and their experiences on how a young aspiring engineer can succeed and have an exciting career in the space. So today we have Shang on the show. So Shang is currently working as a senior software engineer, running a engineering team at Loretta.io, a company focused on using data-driven analytics to provide critical insights to different businesses that not only optimize their processes, but also help them make better decisions that helps them reduce costs and improve their margins. So before Loretta.io, Shang also held leadership positions in reputable fintech companies such as Money Owl and MulaSense, developing and pushing out innovative and disruptive technology together with his team he was managing to deliver better user experiences for consumers. And fun fact, he actually worked as a lecturer over at Republic Polytechnic, where he was part of the facilitation and creation of a new curriculum for the Diploma of Financial Technologies, going above and beyond for his students, which naturally actually put his curriculum satisfaction rate above average. So, Shang, really excited to have you on this podcast today.
Thank you, Kenny. Yeah, thank you for the introduction.
Yeah, okay. So, perhaps maybe you want to introduce yourself a little bit, and what got you interested to be interested in the field of engineering back as an undergraduate?
Yeah, sure. So hi everybody. I'm like what Kenny actually introduced. I'm currently with Loretta. We are a video analytics startup. I joined them because okay, a little bit about them. We are actually creating AI models, computer vision models, which watches the television. So let me I'll tell you a little bit more about them a little later. So Jason, the CTO, actually um, got me kind of sold out because he was telling me, look at all the cameras out there. How many of them are really watched, right? So there's really a limitless potential of computer vision, especially in this world where we have it's full of unmonitored cameras basically. So technically, since I'm a tech person, I'm an engineer. What drew me to Loretta was a chance to actually engineer ML AI driven applications. So there's a lot of systems out there, web systems, um, console systems. For me, I'm interested in ML driven systems currently. So this is just my phase of my life, and also scalable systems. So we are trying to watch close to about 400 to 1,000 plus cameras at one point of time. It's kind of like not easy. So this is just the engineering challenges which got me interested. And now, but rewind back I can't even remember when was the first time I actually touched it. Yeah. I don't know. Tell you what model of computer I touch. It makes me sound old. I want to sound young now. So um, as actually I started in um, just before poly. I went to polytechnic and then university. Um, I was building my own computers at that point of time, and I went, hey, wow, it's not bad. It's quite nice. So the desktop PC era, oh shucks, that's my age now. The desktop PC era was what actually got me interested. Assembling it together, loading my own operating system, DOS. Oh crap, the age is out now. DOS, and also running my own programs on it. So after loading up certain programs and running it, that was what made me go, wow, this is actually powerful stuff. Of course, being a gamer helped. And I have been a young teenager before. So when I was playing Dota and things like that, it really got me interested in how does all these things run? Yeah, but I'm not a game developer lah. Yeah.
Wow, that's really interesting. Hearing your story of how you actually started, and I'm pretty sure actually there's many, even my friends, they started by tinkering their computer, and in fact actually some of my friends they started from using this cheat engine last time for some of their
Yeah.
programs. Yeah, so I think that was your first break into computing and software engineering. So that's great to hear your story. But Shang,
Thank you.
I actually noticed that you actually did your master's at NUS after, shortly after you finish your bachelor's, while actually taking a full-time role at ST Engineering. So I'm just curious, what inspired you to actually further your studies?
Yeah. I I was really pursuing technical skill set at that point of time. So basically what happened is I wanted to do as heavy and deep technology as possible. So that's why I took certain types of roles. At SD Engineering, I was building. Basically, I chose the project. So when I was hired, they told me I want you to work on this type of defense applications. I said no, I don't want. It doesn't sound very interesting. So the hiring manager actually transferred me to a business unit which worked on airline systems. So I can't talk about it. Somebody will kill me. So I can't. Basically, it's an airline system which has to do with a bit to do with defense also. So that was really interesting, and I I worked with I built certain systems which work with radars and things like that. That was really quite cool. That's why I mentioned I like technical depth. What happened was while I was doing this, I realized that actually more than just technical depth because I didn't use anything I learned in the 4 years of computing. Throw away my piece of paper. Yeah, so I didn't learn anything from them because all the systems, the or maybe only APIs, the radar systems, everything, the algorithms, how does this radar system work, and the business logic I need to write to make my system work in the way the users will be happy with could not be taught. So I realized that actually management and understanding how systems are built is actually very important. So that's why I took my master's. It's from a faculty of engineering. It's management of technology. So I actually tried to pick up about how technology is managed, how R&D is done, and of course products are built. So it's a little bit more of the fluffy side, but I realized that that is actually very important. So I had to do projects which was to do with design. I couldn't code. Yeah, yeah. So sit down, interview users, and try A/B testing, things like that. Yeah, that's what I learned a bit.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, actually, just curious, building up on your point, because I believe, the skill sets that you learn is very different from the technical skills that you have learned.
Mm.
And but how has that experience over your master's program actually give you that competitive edge over maybe perhaps some of your peers that just focus more on the technical side of things?
Oh, I would say soft skills is very important at the end of the day. Um, so more than just being able to engineer and build systems technically, I so maybe let me just illustrate it in a story and an anecdote. When I was at ST, we started building um, the system exactly towards the business requirements. So we have this business requirement document, waterfall, seriously, is dinosaur age. So we were still using the dinosaur waterfall. So after building it, we started passing it on to the end user UAT user acceptance test, and they were like, "No, this is not what I want." And I was like, "Hey, look at this piece of paper." Okay, so that's why we have this thing called agile now. It's a different way we build software. So basically, you can only do agile if you really understand what the user is thinking about. And when I went and tried to retrain, add skill sets to myself, I was adding this type of skill sets. How do I understand what a product is? Meaning, like at the end of the day, what is this product trying to this technical system? this technical solution, whatever it may be. What is it supposed to do? What kind of value does it create? And that's of course that's one. And of course, there's also the other part about usability. So how do I make this product? How do I capture as much of this business value using whatever design skills we can do? And of course, it must be sustainable, blah blah blah, scalable, and all these other things. Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. And actually, in fact, I've seen many of your colleagues and past people that you have worked with actually commended this, or at least this trait of yours to really not just understand the technical side of things, but also really understand the problems of a client's business very well, like to really deliver the effective solutions that drives top results. So I'm just curious then, was this like all learned in the masters, but also developed through the experiences over at the workspace also? So like how do you actually hone and actually develop this specific unique skill set of yours?
Okay. You must be talking about all the LinkedIn recommendations. Okay.
Yeah. So I just saw.
Yeah, yeah. Humble a bit. This one is to be paka one. I do for you, you do for me. Yeah, we all say nice things about each other. But okay lah, no lah. Coming back to it, I would say that some of them learn. You can learn some of these things and be exposed by professors. So that is to say in a short nutshell. Yes, definitely it can be learned, and going for education, learning something from a course or something like that, it would be good. Like a lean certificate. I think that can be learned, and or agile can be picked up also. Similar, you don't need a master's lah, basically. But also on the other hand, building a product from scratch really helps a lot. So whether is it in a large company like what I told you about, ST Engineering, um, or actually one thing I learned the most is when I started building uh, products which the end user will use. And the more demanding, the better. So basically, Singaporeans with their money, they're extremely touchy. Oh, you touch $1, I tell you, you better, yeah, everything must be sui sui. Okay, for those who don't know what sui sui is, I think you have an international audience. Basically, I was with Mula Sense. What happened is we collect investors' money, and our main investor base is Singaporeans. And when we collect it, we actually either allow them to invest directly to SMEs or we invest it for them. Yeah. So this is the main idea of the products. We invest in growing SMEs and with a specific goal in mind. Yeah. So it's a specific time bound, specific goal to achieve a certain thing. So uh, what happened was we started taking some of people's money and they started complaining. How come so difficult to do this? How come so difficult? Why does it work that way? Yeah. So after explaining a lot, we realized, oh, okay, now I know what product market fit is. When I try to create something, it must really fit their needs and in the way which is easy. So that's why I talked about the product and then also the user design, the user experience. Yeah.
Oh, so it sounds like the path of actually really growing the skill sets in terms of a holistic development is really just building a product from scratch, and the associated problems will come naturally with that, right? And challenges that you have to overcome.
Um, I think that you can also be part of a team building a product, even if it's not from scratch. But the main idea is that when you experience, I think don't run away from all the other parts. Yeah, don't just say, oh yeah, please tell me what you want me to build, and then I go ahead and just build it, and I don't want to interact with whoever who uses the product. It is the desire to know more and to really be part of and be also a crafter, be involved with what it is. So I use the word crafting. It comes from my teaching background because that's the word we use when we say we are going to develop curriculum. Yeah, we craft the whole thing, the whole learning experience.
Oh, wow, that's a really very great insights from yourself, and I believe that will have only came from a lot of experiences that you have. Okay, so in fact, actually, I'm just curious as well. Before actually resuming your role as a senior software engineer at Loretta.io, you went on to actually became a lecturer at Republic Poly, like what you mentioned. So I'm just curious, has teaching has always been something you always enjoyed doing and wanted to pursue, or was it more spontaneous as a new route that you wanted to take on?
Okay, it might seem a little random, but what happened was I was at the FinTech Festival. I was with FinTechs all the way. So the FinTech Festival organized by Singapore's MAS, Monetary Authority of Singapore, is like the mecca. Okay, so we go there, we pay tribute. Oh, this is this is like to get inspiration. But what happened was Ravi Menon, the um uh, he's the MAS director of that point of time. He gave a speech, a keynote, and he mentioned we need more software developers, software engineers who are trained. They need to know how to build a certain thing, why it is built a certain way. Because fintech systems is very different. You need a lot of compliance. What if somebody loses $1? You have to make sure every single thing is well planned. That's why compliance. And also, why do we need so much checks and balances, KYC, everything else? So I learned this the hard way because I was just a software developer and I knew a bit of web. That's it. I went to I went to Mula Sense and we had to learn it the very hard way, painful way. So I decided, okay, yes, I think I want to be part of this. That's one. Second thing is so I would say having a very good knowledge and holistic knowledge is a good thing. So when I started joining Mula Sense, Money Owl, I started making a lot of, making friends with finance people because I have no choice. I have to talk to them and to understand like basically I'm a lost person, a lost kid. I only know how to code only. I couldn't understand why certain things work a certain way. So as I became friends with them, I realized, oh, they know so much. So I picked up some stuff. And one of the things I picked up was financial markets. So I basically just did a calculation. I just told myself, maybe at this point of time, not only teaching, but teaching full time might be a good idea. So I took a risk. I went into government, more secure and stable job. It paid off actually during that time. Now, uh, I would say that because I was so stable during uh, the 19 and then COVID happened. Of course, I didn't predict that. 19 2021 period, my life is very good now. Yeah, it's financially and other things. So that's why I can join a crazy, like very, very dangerous startup today.
Yeah, so I mean, I believe the move was very it came at quite a timely period lah, especially when the COVID situation happened. And of course, now you will actually get the opportunity to do something exciting lah that resonated with you.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, of course, the audiences are, they could be older engineers, but they could, I mean, a majority of them are also young engineers who aspire to really have an illustrious career like yourself. But, I'm just very curious as to, because we found out how you actually got into software development, but I'm very curious as to what was the journey of development like for yourself? What, back when you were undergraduate, how do you actually improve your skills? And after even you are starting to work, I mean, you have already work for quite some time. How do you continue to hone this craft?
Okay. Uh, so I think I answered a bit of it also by exposing myself to other parts um, of product development, for example. So there is the heavy technical skill set. Um, Take for example, when we started building products, if let's say products crash, then the question is, oh no, what now? Because I've actually deployed it on a server. So the technical side has to be honed. I started reading up and learning, oh, actually, cloud has this really, really cool thing called auto scaling. And in order to auto scale, um, I have to break it up into, I have to use non-monolithic structures. Yeah, non-monolithic system design. So basically, I had to start reading, what does this thing mean? How do I break it up? This front end and break it up into the separate these two, front end and back end. Then now that I separate these two, how do I actually talk to one another? Use APIs or and things like that. So, um, like then what about security? I'm building fintech applications. How can you just split the two and just allow them to just talk to one another? What about all the security? And then uh, networking comes in and all these other things. Okay, so I don't want to bore you with technical details. This is not really a technical talk, but basically every single step of the way, all the how with this, I didn't know that I'm going to learn it from the start. Yeah, so Steve Jobs actually mentioned something quite nice. He finally graduated, yeah, and uh, he gave a talk at his alma mater. He said that you can't connect the dots at the start, only at the end. Then you can connect the dots. You see, oh, how did everything actually play together? And oh, now I am happy. Glad that I have some success. So actually, some of the troubles, some of the problems which I face contributed to what I am doing today. So when the system crashed and I got scolded like crazy by my boss and he asked me, how come this system is crashing? Okay, go and learn now and make sure this system never crashes, or else I lose money. My investors complain. So it's my fault. Yeah, yeah. I'm like, how is it my fault? But at that point of time. But now I'm quite glad that it happened because now I understand this word called scalability. I understand that systems should not, it is, although it's not my fault that the code fails, because the code is not failing at that point of time. It is that there's no way there's no way that this current server can support the number of users. Yeah. So then what is going to happen? I can start to develop myself further, and maybe more and more companies are interested in who I am. So that's one. Reading up. How do is the hunger to just know more. You can't stop at what the professor has taught you. Yeah. Once the professor is done, you know, so far for me at that point of time, I only learn web uh, some simple web frameworks, even not even the more complicated web frameworks like that we have today. So I had to go and pick up, learn and upskill myself the newer web frameworks. Scalability don't even need to say. The lecturers didn't even the professors didn't even know the word today that exists today. So I'm quite grateful of this. Just reading online on the internet and looking for answers. The second way on how to answer all these questions easier is mentorship and networking and going for networking events. So I was actually just talking to Kenny just a little earlier and saying that, oh, this is such a great space. If I can know and learn a bit more about some of the soft skills, for example, in from this kind of podcast, I would really love it back when I just graduated. Yeah, so something like this. There is definitely this type of podcast for which is for heavy technical stuff. Just go look for it. Yeah.
Yeah, so Shang, it seems that you really I think one trait that I actually noticed about you is that you really take extreme ownership over some of the issues and problems, and you just take it as a learning opportunity to skywrite yourself to the next development. And at the end is to find out like, oh, I actually went through so many of these challenges, but it seems that each challenge presents itself a new direction to head towards. Yeah. So, I mean, building on the point, right? I'm just curious, when you were actually developing curriculum over at Republic Polytechnic, did some of the curriculum you actually developed was inspired by some of the challenges you faced as an engineer when you were, trying to break out into the leadership position?
Yes, for sure. I'm not sure about breaking out into leadership because that's not really one of the hard skills we teach. Yeah, but definitely a lot of why systems are created this way. Um, Definitely uh, we can add this kind of topics in. Yeah. So take for example, in fintechs, because the diploma I was with is a fintech focused one, we would actually talk about regulations first. So we'll tell them about regulations, uh, and talk about every step of the way. What are regulations, for example, and things like that, and then move into talking about how does technology play a role in this space. It can be as simple as just doing checks, uh, online form basically. I ask you, oh, do you have you traded before? That goes into KYC and things like that. Or rather, no, sorry, not KYC, something else. Yeah, another one of the no. Yeah, it's been a little while. I give back to students and give back to some people already. But I know there's some of these checks. Also, why do we have to collect so many pieces of information? And that's KYC. And how do we actually collect it even in a better way? So take for example, today we have um, a SingPass. That is one of the great gateways we have been teaching, and we use that in curriculum too. Yeah, support Singapore. Yeah, yeah, support Singapore government. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But but actually that's what I think the education space I mean as of recent years, right, has been up in the limelight lah. It's always improved the education of the new and younger engineers so that when they come out they are more equipped with the skill sets necessary. So I think it's a really really great step forward also. So yeah, so Sheng,
Yeah,
as
yeah.
a senior, sorry.
Actually, I miss teaching a lot. Yeah,
Oh, is it?
it's just this is really quite exciting what I'm doing now, and I got the opportunity to pick up this additional challenge in my in experience, just to experience it. So yeah, I really think this is what you're doing also, education and development, personal career development. Wow, it's really uh, yeah, this is a very interesting and needed space, needed area.
So yeah, I mean, I'm just curious. Do you still keep in contact with some of the students you actually taught, and how
Yeah,
are they doing right now?
yeah, that's why I'm quite active. I started becoming a little more active on LinkedIn because I'm connected with all the students. So to me, that's the way I see easiest to reach out to them and try my best to share with them what are the so we don't do that much AI. Uh, we don't put a lot of AI in our curriculum to actually keep telling them, hey, this area, if you are interested in fintech, if you start building some of these technical skill sets, I think this is a very good area for you. So I try to keep sending them information on this. Yeah.
Interesting, interesting. Well, it's very exciting space in the next 5 to 10 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah, so anyways, Sheng, as a senior software engineer currently, I saw that you have a lot of experiences mentoring young engineers in your team, I believe. And also, experiences over at Republic Poly teaching, new students about the craft. Yep. So, of course, instead of actually asking what are some of the, typical positive traits that a good engineer hire should possess, maybe you could share with me the inverse actually, which are what are the top things, right, of bad or what bad hires or young like not so great teammates actually do that sabotages their promotion or career advancement opportunities that you have noticed over the years.
Mm, okay. Okay. I would say that at the end of the day, software engineers, we are all problem solvers. Yeah. We are using not only our engineering knowledge. So I understand how to build a system, and I don't know why I inherit this system. It's working a certain way. So I look at it and I test out. I do unit testing and I get this result. Oh, maybe if I change this particular thing, that helps it. Yeah. So whether is it building new product, whether is it inheriting something, or whether it is how do I it does this thing works? How do I make it work better? What my goal is to increase customer usage, make it faster, make it operate faster, and then customer satisfaction. Oh, when something works so fast, wow, this must be an awesome product. This is an awesome company. I'm going to tell all my friends about it. Yeah, something like that. At the end of the day, we are problem solvers. I would say that if you don't want to solve problems, that's a bad thing. Yeah, yeah. So, uh, so basically, what I'll say is if you do the converse of first principles. So the first principles uh, approach to problem solving is try to understand the problem at its very minimal and simplest manner. And then what we do is we just analyze it and just say, hey, how can I solve this problem at its main level? Yeah, like what is the actual thing I'm trying to solve and trying to and then come up, sorry, what is the actual problem? And then come up with a solution which meets that problem. So I would say that complicating things would be a bad thing. Like, oh, this problem is something else. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you make it totally different. Uh, of course, not wanting to solve the problem. Yeah, then the problem is the engineer becomes the problem if you don't want to solve things. Yeah. And I would say the last thing is if you are not open to learning, because then you would try to use the same tools all the time, even when a better set is out. So let me give you an example. Today, the AI engineers are at their biggest risk. Why? Because statistical in the past for 50 years, AI had existed, but AI have existed as this thing called expert systems. They built a lot of business logic into it. So previously, when the AI models would win in chess, they are actually winning because somebody thought about it and sat down beside the grand chess master, learn from him. Wow, hello, and then they know, and it's so smart. Today, AI scientists no longer do that. They get surprised when the model, because what they are doing is deep learning and self-supervised and unsupervised learning. What happened is that this model learns for itself, and they go, hey, this is the best move possible. And the AI scientist and also the champion sits there and go, wow, I didn't think of that. Why? Yeah. So they start asking the model, and the model, of course, this goes into much further deeper into the field. So this is also one reason why I'm interested in this area, because I also don't know anything about it. I want to learn more, but also because I really believe that this is the best way of problem solving, and the me being the most open. Okay, I don't know anything. I would like to learn. Please tell me a bit more about how this type of systems work best. You don't want me to tell you this kind of systems what to do, then what am I gonna do? Yeah. So this is actually what one of the experiences that, like, in the last 3 months that I've learned. Yeah.
But thanks for sharing those great insights. So, Shang, speaking of which, now of course, I believe there's massive tech layoffs and we are facing a real
Yeah.
recession, a real possible recession. I'm actually pretty sure that a lot of engineers out there are really uncertain about their job security, with massive layoffs from
Mhm.
even the biggest tech companies as of late. Google, Microsoft, and many big tech companies have been laying off. So, do you have any advice, right? Because you have managed young engineers, to know how can they not only survive the recession period, but also thrive and even get career opportunities and promotions during this period?
Mhm. Yeah, I so not only are the giants laying off, I was just talking to a friend. So if you have been around in the industry for a little while, you have friends who are already successful and they are already the CEO of this, that. So I was talking to one of a friend who is the CTO in quite a big company. They were just named as one of Singapore's 100 fastest growing companies. And he was telling me, oh yeah, now the strategy is a little different. The landscape is different. The strategy of how you run a business is different. So what is happening is that companies are now saying, or leaders, right, are now saying, okay, I need to safeguard my whatever I have, whatever talent and knowledge I have. What this means is they are not going to expand and be that uh, gung ho. Yeah, which would mean that they need to be gung ho, doubly gung ho in the next few months because if they want to grow. Yeah. So what I'll say is just pick a company. Think of what any of the companies that you are interested in. Microsoft. I'm interested in Microsoft. I'm interested in Amazon, AWS, and think about what they are interested in. What were they actually trying to go for? Be the best in that. Basically, for now, any job out there which allows you to do that, just go and take it. Because this is now or even in your current role, try to pursue a project which is similar to that. Because during this time, R&D is, uh, because now what they want to do is BAU, right? Business as usual. Sorry, let me speak in more simpler terms. So if business as usual would mean I'm going to guard my assets. I'm going to make sure that um I don't overspend because I'm not sure. So which means that they are, but these are business visionaries. They still want to grow their companies at the end of the day. So if you have a skill set which you know that somebody wants, make sure that you have honed it. And what are the what are the skill sets which are great. So just make sure that you build yourself in that area. Yeah, yeah, you can deepen your skill set. If there is a new language um which let's say in web programming, if there's this new language Go that you really want to go deeper in because Go works in C and it works much faster, please pick it up, right? If let's say um cloud computing, you know that cloud computing is the next thing and you don't have you don't know how to uh build systems yet, then go learn cloud formation. Yeah, it is Amazon's product. So yeah, basically, you want to write infrastructure as code and be able to scale exponentially. Yeah. So basically there are many different things. There's too little time now to draw the entire crazy curve. Yeah. But a great thing to also learn from the big boys because um, places like Amazon, AWS, Google, they actually have hierarchies. And if you they have this type of HR hierarchies, and if you want to get to this particular place, they'll tell you these are the skill sets which you want to pick up. Yeah. Another way is to talk to and to look at job descriptions, talk to a lot of people. I'm sure Kenny can introduce you to many people, and to just ask them like, hey, I want to get to this role. You are in this. What what do I need to have? I show you my resume now. What are the additional things? Then because when you read those words, it might not say, please go and pick up this skill. Please go and pick up that skill, right? Take this certification and that. So that would be the way go, I would say, because this is very catered. Web based applications, IoT, applications will not be the same as like what I'm in now. AI applications. Yeah. That word will mean different things basically.
Okay. Well, thanks so much for the insights. And I believe, like many other endeavors, I think skill sets and the depth of mastery is what makes one valuable, and to constantly actually hone these skill sets as well. But Sheng, I'm just very curious as well, because also there are many of young engineers where when they first started work, they're so busy at work all the time, and finding time and effort and energy outside of work can be really challenging to pursue. So do you have any advice for them in that area, or
Yeah.
within the company?
Yes, I was just talking to you about this just before the recording, right? Um, so personally, I particularly believe that uh, if I could go back a few years and tell myself, like, hey, um, so I was telling him when I was younger, I found time management difficult. Yeah. Um, it was difficult to actually um, guide my own path because I don't see what somebody else sees. Yeah, because currently the problem which I see, which I'm facing, is in a much smaller space, right? Technically and things like that. So what I hope was I would spend a bit more time actually networking, learning from others, learning from systems, somebody else tell me what they're doing in their systems. For example, so take for example, I just give you one now. If you go to Google and you go in YouTube, AWS, this is my architecture. This is what I've been learning. These are the people who have been teaching me for the past 10 years ago. Yeah, yeah. Because I was wondering how do they build these kind of systems? Finally, there's people who are actually sharing it, like sharing ideas. Oh, maybe you can do this. This is how I created my architecture, and my system runs because of this. So of course, they don't sit down and code and guide you. That is on us to learn. But this is one way, one great way. Uh, Um, so I've learned how to time manage. Yeah, and I highly encourage you to do that, to manage your own time. Uh, like your own personal development is also very important. And the second one, uh, even when I'm there, if I don't open my mouth, nobody knows who I am. I become the wallpaper. Yeah. So I actually picked up how to network. It's just being a nice person, because generally when you are a nice person, people want to just talk to you. Yeah. So you don't need to be somebody else. Being yourself is good enough.
Yeah. Yeah, so actually, on your point, actually, I talked to the previous podcast guest, and Nilesh, and he always said something about networking with the intention to give back to the community. Like how he actually scaled up also was, he went into the community and really just value add to them, and people could sense his genuine spirit and naturally want to collaborate with him. Yeah, so I mean, I just wanted, what is it the same for you in terms of networking? Like, do you often contribute back to the community as a way to network?
Yeah. Okay. Thank you for this question. I can finally do my pitch. Yeah. Yeah. So yes, the answer is yes. I do this via AI space. So the link that I actually sent you earlier, yeah, you can also put it up on LinkedIn if you want. So my current goal is to train junior developers in specifically the AI space. Too many people don't know about this. They feel they are afraid of this. I go for Geek Branch. It's this group of people who I've been networking with, and I talk to them about it. They go, "Wow, you are doing this!" But when I joined them on my very first day, I was also curious how do how are machine learning systems built. And when I saw it, I was like, like that only ah. Yeah, yeah. So actually, if you are wondering, oh no, how can I break into this space? How are these kind of systems? It's too difficult for me to do AI systems. Yeah, but actually at the end of the day it's quite simple. So it's not Okay, I wouldn't even use the word rocket science because now Singapore also have space tech. So it's not like crazy hard, crazy difficult. At the end of the day, if you get exposed and just be a nice person, calm down. There are a lot of people like myself also. I'm networking to give back. Coming back to the question, I want to do this because I myself I'm trying to build a team, and I also have a ingmo. I also have a secret motive, right? My motive is to increase the size so that we can hire more people from there. Because uh, even if I don't hire uh, you today, at the end of maybe when I need to hire again, maybe there is somebody else who was pulled in by you, for example, whoever, yeah, and the size is bigger. Yeah, basically Singapore needs this at the end of the day.
Well, if anyone is interested, I'll shoot a link down below, to the, the space that he actually created. And that's a wonderful initiative, and I'm pretty sure a lot of engineers would really appreciate the level of mentorship and generosity that you have given. Okay, so just to wrap up things up, do you have any last piece of advice that you want to give the audience out there? Whether they are actually starting on their engineering journey, or maybe they have felt that they have reached a point where they feel stagnant in their engineering career.
I I would say, I would just summarize what we have talked about. Actually, you brought up a lot of points. All your questions are very good. I would say, um, be open. Do do not just do not just learn technical skill set. Also be open to learning from others. So if technical skill set is what you want to hone, there are other areas, for example, product, as to um, getting more experience on how products are being solved and built. Um, Second is be open to talking to others, of course. And I think the last piece of advice, which is what we just talked about, is networking is quite important. Yeah. Or else, how are you going to shortcut your learning? Yeah. Learning from professors, I've already mentioned, we have discussed it, and I think both of us agree. Myself and Kenny were discussing just before the recording that uh, it only brings us to a certain level. Yeah.
Yeah, so anyways, thanks so much for all the great insights, Sheng. And I believe actually the audience would really appreciate the level of insights that you have given. And hopefully they can actually take some of these learnings and apply it to their own skills. Right. So no, my last question to you is, where can the audience best reach and connect with you for advice and opportunities?
Yeah, so the AI space is one of them. I'm sure, like what you mentioned, you want, you are going to connect my LinkedIn, what we discussed about. Yeah, please let's just chat via that platform. Also look for me at the Odyssey events. Yeah, I was talking to Kenny. I was asking, please let's organize something so that we can network with each other.
Okay, it's in the works lah. We will work something out.
Sure, sure.
Okay, so anyways, we'll just wrap up this episode of the podcast. Thanks, so much, Shang, for being a great guest on the show, and hope whatever he has shared inspired all of you. All right.